Welcome to the Notebook 0-Hour online inter-school international debates powered by Stayfree and brought to you in partnership with Save the Children. We have had some fantastic debates so far. Today is Match 23. This is a Pool C match. Some previous matches have been played in Pool C, so there are already some scores on the board to contend with. Let's see how today goes on. Before we start, just confirming, Meher was supposed to join us. I don't see her on the list yet. Could the coordinator please confirm?
I'm speaking from Podar International School.
Good evening, ma'am.
I joined and I think she is facing some connectivity issues.
No worries. We will not start the debate until and unless she joins.
Yeah.
But let's get a move on.
Yeah. Thank you.
So today's debate is between the Ramakrishna Mission CBSE School Gwalior and the Podar International School Powai, Mumbai. We've had one other Podar International School before this. They had phenomenal debaters. We are looking for extremely high quality of debating from your school as well. Ramakrishna Mission CBSE Gwalior was the first school in India that went completely online for the entire academic year, and we were very proud to partner with them. I can see that Swamiji has also joined as an attendee. Namaskar, Swamiji. Good to have you with us. Before we move on with today's debate, we are very proud to be powered by Stayfree. Stayfree, as you all know, is a Johnson & Johnson brand. They do some phenomenal work for women's hygiene, particularly young women who are just entering their puberty. This is a short public service announcement message that they wanted us to play for every participant, and we are happy to do so.
Shubhay, the sound's not on.
Are you not getting audio?
No, not of the video.
Is it better now?
No, for some reason I'm not getting it.
Sorry, you'll have to excuse us just for a second. We are trying a new sound setup. Hopefully we'll get this sorted. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. Just give me 1 second. We will get this sorted right away. Abhishek, is it audible now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
आसान काम भी मुश्किल लगता है, बहुत दर्द होता है।
मैं किसी के पास बैठ भी नहीं सकती और जब मैं उठती हूँ बार-बार निशान चेक करती हूँ।
घर में एक ही वॉशरूम है तो पैड चेंज करने में मुझे शर्म आती है।
मुझे पैड को कचरे में छुपाना पड़ता है हर बार।
She may not understand what she's going through. She just needs to know. You do. Over 2 million girls will get their first period in lockdown. Your daughter or sister could be one of them. Talk to her. Tell her.
It's normal. It's just a period.
Well, after that heartwarming message, let's move on with the debate. Today's debate is between the Ramakrishna Mission CBSE School Gwalior and the Podar International School Powai, Mumbai. I can see everybody has joined. Both Meher and myself, after some initial technical glitches, are now ready to debate. The topic for today: this house believes that gene editing should be outlawed. I repeat, this house believes gene editing should be outlawed. These are the two teams from the Ramakrishna Mission CBSE Gwalior. We have Ms. Smita Dubey, who's the adjudicator. Smriti would be speaking for the motion while Rishika goes against the motion. From the Podar International School, Powai, Ms. Swekshana Mitra is the adjudicator. Samit is speaking for the motion while Meher speaks against the motion. This will be the order in which the speakers would go. We will start with Smriti first, then Meher, followed by Samit, and finally Rishika. As you all know, you will have 5 minutes for your initial round of debates. After everybody speaks, the judges will give you the scores out of 95 because 5 points are reserved for your rebuttal. Speaking of the judges, we have 3 adjudicators today. We have Ms. Smita Dubey and Ms. Swekshana Mitra from the 2 schools are the 2 adjudicators. We also have Ms. Meghna Laha as the neutral adjudicator. Meghna is an AVP at Notebook. She was working with the World Bank after her courses from Columbia University and University of Rhode Island. For the World Bank, she was monitoring 42 unsupervised projects across Africa. And then she came and joined us at Notebook to help students learn easier in a more fun way and better. Well, after your initial 5 minutes, we will circle back in the same order for your 2 minutes of rebuttal, during which you will get marked on another 5 points, and then you'll get your total marks out of 100, which will be the average of the 3 adjudicator scores. With that said, let us now get to know the participants a little bit better. I will stop my screen share. Smriti, if you're there. Great, I can see you. If you can unmute yourself, we would love to know you a little bit better.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank Notebook for giving me this platform. Now, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Smriti Sharma, and I'm from Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. My hobbies are I like to watch cricket matches. I have a great interest in cricket. Besides this, I like to draw sketches. I have an interest in drawing, and I want to become an IAS officer. Yeah, that's all about me.
Wonderful, Smriti. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your time now.
Violating the law of nature is like inviting mankind to its own destruction. Good evening, everyone. Respected jury members, my worthy opponents, and the lovely audience. Today, I am here with my topic, gene editing should be outlawed, and I am speaking for the motion. First of all, I want to tell you that what is gene editing? Gene editing, also known as genome editing, is a group of technologies which give scientists the ability to change an organism's DNA. These technologies allow the genetic material to be added, removed, or altered at particular location in the genome. In the communication column, the gene editing conversation by Matthew Nisbet in the January-February 2018 issue was an important topic, but the article is framed in a way that the policy expert examined it as a controversial subject. So what is the reason behind this topic which make it so controversial? Let me tell you that. Actually, when gene editing is done to transfer the characters from one organism to another, it is not necessary that the characteristics which we want is transferred. Some other unhealthy and which are not required characteristics also transferred. That cause a lot change in the organism. Then who will be responsible for this mistake? Okay, for some time, we may assume that we become successful in this technique. With this, we make a physically healthy human. But will that be emotionally complete? My dear friend, he is called to be a robot, but not a human being. In Indian culture, gene therapy should be outlawed is my correct opinion, just like other countries. Now, I want to tell you that if gene therapy should not be outlawed, then we have to face such terrible situation, potential unintended or off-target effects, increased likely of developing cancer, possibility of being used in biological attacks, unintended consequences for the future generation. I strongly support the view of UNESCO panel of experts call for the ban on the editing of the human DNA to avoid unethical tampering with hereditary traits. Scientists use tools and collecting data are sometimes not significant, and it even caused the death of the organism. We can see in the present time, coronavirus is maybe the gross negligence of the scientist. Now, I want to tell you that gene editing in agriculture is remain highly controversial. Moving towards my next point, because of gene editing, the concept of the birth of designer baby would be further built up in future. It means the child eye, hair, and skin color would be exactly like that his parents wants. According to me, man learns from his mistake and shortcoming, and then he is able to face the problems in future. If designer baby is made, then there is no shortage in them. But nature works according to its rule. It has both destructive and beneficial forms. Actually, I want to say that these type of design should be suits on clothes and fashion. But this mess with the existence of humans is not right. Now, keeping all these things in mind, I would like to conclude that it should be outlawed globally to prevent its misuse. Because in human beings, the purity of species should be maintained at any cost. A very well said by David Well. In editing the human genome, scientists must worry about the unintended consequences, changes to other part of the genome that are called off-target effects. Fix one thing, we have broken something else. Thank you. Over to the moderator.
Well done, Smriti. Some forceful arguments there. Let's see how the judges score you. Judges, you have access to the scoring sheets. If you could please put in Smriti scores. Meghna, I have your scores. Thank you. So, Akshana ma'am, the points for rebuttal would be filled
I'm
in
doing
after.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm doing it. Yeah, just give me
No
two.
problem. No problem, ma'am.
The last presentation in that, the vocabulary thing, I'm unable to fill.
If you could just write the number on another cell, I can see and fill that in.
Okay, fine, fine. I have filled in another cell. The
Sure,
adjacent
ma'am.
cell I filled in. I'm sharing now. Just check.
Yeah. Is that okay, ma'am?
Is it updated? I think it got updated.
Sir, done.
Yeah, done.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Again, the cell number 9, we will fill that up later. So I've deleted that one particular number.
Yeah. I'm so
I'll
sorry.
take the rest of your scores.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Akshana ma'am, is that your final score? Can I take that?
Yes, please take.
Thank you. Well, Smriti, if you can see the screen. 1 second. We have had some technical glitches in our previous setup, so we decided to get a new setup. So you'll have to give me just a couple of minutes to get a little more used to it. Yeah, Smriti, if you can see your screen, these are your scores out of 95 up on the screen now. Well done, and Meher, you're up next. Meher, before you start, we would love to know you a little bit better.
So, firstly, I'm sorry for 89, 89.
Meher, there's a lot of interference on your line. I think there's another device in the room.
So there isn't. We're not logged in from any other device.
Cool. Now I can hear you clearly. Thank you so much.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm Meher Mehtani from grade 10 of Podar International School. And as for the hobbies part, I am particularly interested in public speaking, and I'm very fond of world literature, and I wish to pursue that someday.
Wonderful, Meher. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your time for the debate now.
It is said that from the bitterness of disease, man learns the sweetness of health. How convenient it is for my undoubtedly worthy opposition, many of whom are themselves the beneficiaries of gene editing, to sit here healthy and happy and make feeble attempts at bringing out the flaws in this endeavor that has been responsible for good health, cure of diseases, and enhancement in quality of life for billions. Let us, for one moment, put ourselves in the shoes of those suffering from cancer or cystic fibrosis, my friends, and think of what this means to the sufferers and their loved ones, and not to the greater majority of others. Good afternoon, respected members of the jury, moderator, my fellow debaters, and dear audience. I am Meher Mehtani from grade 10 of Podar International School, Powai, and I am here to present my arguments against the motion, that is, gene editing should be outlawed. Genome editing, as we all know, is a method that lets scientists partially change the DNA of many organisms, including plants, bacteria, and animals. And tremendous progress has been made in the discerning of its efficacy in agriculture, livestock and cattle, and in human beings. To start with, kindly allow me to state one very simple fact. Genetically modified crops, which are also pest and herbicide resistant, have increased crop yields by 10%, regardless of poor or optimal growing conditions. The world's most widely planted genetically modified crops, including soybean, corn, and cotton, were created with a few relatively simple genetic tweaks. It has resulted in the ability to make protein that kills many kinds of insects, for farmers to kill weeds without eroding the soil, for engineered plants to be 8 to 9% better at turning sunlight into sugar, and made them more efficient at using nitrogen, a key soil ingredient. Amidst all these advantages, I fail to see how the opposition could possibly think engineered plants to still be undesirable. In the medical industry too, genetically modified bacteria is used to produce insulin, one of the most important drugs for exponentially growing diabetic patients. Let us now hypothesize a young child struck by incurable diseases, with hopelessness being the only constant in his life. Then I think we will begin to appreciate the gravity of the situation. Then think of the happiness and joy a cure would bring to him. Moreover, there are an estimated 7.6 billion humans on the planet, and yet an estimated 1 in 9 of us does not have access to sufficient food to lead a normal and active lifestyle. Despite the problems we face feeding our species, the human population is set to grow, reaching 11.2 billion in 2100. Evidently, and I'm sure the learned opposition agrees here, if we struggle to feed 7.6 billion people currently, preparing to feed almost 4 billion more will be one of the biggest challenges facing our species, not to mention an incredibly Herculean task. As a result, we need to produce more of food whilst reducing the impact of farming on the environment. It is time to confront the reality, ladies and gentlemen. Scope for increasing land under agriculture is negligible at most. Does my opposition really believe we can sustain ourselves without taking any special measures the way we are headed right now? I should think not. Believe it or not, gene editing is a gift of science to mankind that is to be graciously accepted and not to be outlawed. Now, friends, let me name to you a few fatal diseases and disabilities engulfing the world with fear. Cancer, blood disorders, blindness, AIDS, cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, and Huntington's disease. What comes to your mind? Suffering? Endless rounds of the hospital? Does it not seem like a utopian fantasy that genetic engineering by CRISPR may have the potential to prove to be a cure for these? When the suffering and death caused by such terrible single gene disorders as Huntington's disease might be averted, the decision to delay such research should not be made lightly. The potential to mitigate the suffering of several, the prospect of more food production, the making of vaccines and superior antibiotics, the promise of a world where everyone has enough to eat and no diseases to fear. all at the cost of some biomedical research. If that isn't the power of gene editing, then, my worthy opposition, I ask you, what is? Thank you.
Well done, Meher. Some very, very powerful arguments there. Let's see how the judges are rating you. Judges, you have access to the scoring sheets. Let's see the scores. Meghna, I have your score. May I take that as final? Thank you. I can see the other scores coming in, Meher. So just hold on for a few minutes and we will have your scores out for you. Swikshana ma'am, can I take that as your final score? Smita ma'am, I have your score as well. Can I take that as final, please?
Yes. Done from my side.
Thank you so much. Meher, if you can see the screen, these are your scores after your initial 5 minutes up on the screen now. Very, very well done. We are not filling in the averages right now. We'll fill in the averages after your rebuttal. Samid, you're up next. Samid, could you switch on your camera, please?
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, Samid, I can hear you now. Yeah, we would first love to know a little bit more about you, and then we'll start with your debate.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Samid. I'm 15. I obviously do like reading books, and I also do enjoy painting sometimes.
Well, Samid, if you're ready with your arguments, we will start your time now.
Have you ever thought what it would be like to have someone alter your gene pattern artificially before you've even been born? In a sense, someone playing with your life's characteristics, leading to an irreversible change without your prior consent. Yes, that is exactly what gene editing can be summed up as. Hello, good afternoon. I am Samit Singh Biswas from Podar International School, and I'm strongly of the opinion Now, I realize, looking at it from a distance, how it looks like an answer to all evils of mankind. However, when we step into its details, the cons are just as ghastly. Firstly, playing with humanity's genetic code will open up the proverbial Pandora's box. Scientists will eventually be able to alter DNA, not just to protect against diseases, but also to create genetically enhanced human beings. And didn't the world already fight 2 world wars on this very topic, that no human being is born superior to the other, that no human race is superior to the other, and even in the future, it shall not. And don't we all know of certain autocratic countries neighboring us who will stop at nothing to ensure that they have world domination? If gene editing is not outlawed immediately, we are looking at a world overrun by armies of mutant soldiers hell-bent on taking over the world. Secondly, let's evaluate the societal implications. The same techniques that can eliminate muscular dystrophy will also be used to enhance muscles to improve strength or speed. Techniques used to eliminate dementia will get harnessed to enhance memory and cognition. This would have profound societal impact. So only the wealthy would be able to afford made-to-order children. This means the privileged few would be able to eliminate imperfections and improve the talent, beauty, stature, and IQ of their offspring, thereby locking their privileges in the society for generations to follow. And of course, those at the bottom won't be able to afford this. If we begin to create perfect children in labs, over time, society will begin to develop a certain form of intolerance for imperfection. If your children have an illness because you did not genetically eliminate it, or if they can't keep up because of their unenhanced cognitive abilities, then they will be classified as an unjust burden on the rest. And as the world separates itself into the enhanced and the unenhanced, respect for the dignity of every human life will be dramatically diminished, and even I'm sorry, sir, till where did you hear?
I think we lost your video about 30 seconds back. You're talking
30
about,
seconds.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember the point where I was lost?
We had finished talking about the enhanced and the unenhanced being divided.
Yes, sir. I'll just.
Yeah.
Thirdly, there is the threat to women's equality. If genetic engineering can offer the promise of eliminating diseases, it will also allow parents to choose the sex of their child. That could lead to greater sex discrimination. Just look at China, where the one-child policy led to mass infanticide of girls. If you believe that gender bias exists, then mark my words, that bias will be expressed through genetic engineering with potentially disastrous implications. And by the way, those who believe that gene editing will eliminate all diseases in the world, let me tell you that by definition, genetic editing would not treat any existing person's medical needs. All it will do is reweigh the genetic lottery for the future people. But the vast unknowns in the fields of both genetics and human biology suggest that potentially disastrous outcomes are close to inevitable. I will now leave our learned audience to form their own opinions. Is it really worth playing with the laws of nature on the trust of a subject for which mankind has acquired very little knowledge over the past few decades? Is it really worth placing our bets on a subject with few proven facts and based entirely upon assumptions, and all this at the risk of one's life, who, by the way, hasn't even been born yet? Is all this really worth it? I will end by saying we should not be playing God. If we allow indiscriminate genetic editing, we have crossed a moral line from where there may be no return for mankind ever. Over to the moderator.
Well done, Samit. Despite the small technical glitch there, I think that was very well debated. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Meghna, I have your scores for Samit. Thank you. Swekshana ma'am, I have your scores as well. Thank you so much. Smita ma'am, I have your score as well. Thank you. Well, Samit, if you can see the screen, these are your scores after your first 5 minutes of arguments up on the screen now. Very, very well done. You should be very happy with those scores. And Rishika, some very high bars have been set for you. Rishika, before we start, we would love to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, before that, am I clearly audible and visible too?
Yes, Rishika, we can see you, but your video is a little laggy. Yeah, so tell us a little about yourself so that in the process, we'll get a sound and a video check done.
Okay, so I'm Rishika Khandelwal from grade 10 and I'm 15, of course. I love speed cubing and reading a bit books, sketching also. And my favorite subjects includes physics, chemistry, means science and maths. And yes, last I would like to thank Notebook for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much. That's all about me.
It's our privilege hosting all of you, Rishika. I think there's a slight lag on your video, but we can hear you very, very clearly. So nothing to worry about. As you saw with Samid, in case there's a drop off, we will start again. All right. So Rishika, if you're ready for your arguments, I think we will start your time now.
Remember that green revolution that happened in India in 1960s and 1970s? It turned the fate of India. It turned the whole farming methods in India upside down. But how was this possible? I want you to think about it for a while. Good afternoon to all my competitors, respectful adjudicators, and my cheerful audience. I am Rishika Khandelwal from RKM CBSE school, and I'm definitely speaking against the motion that says gene editing should be outlawed. Why? Now you know what gene editing is. It is basically the way of modifying an organism's DNA for some reason. And this is done by the technique called CRISPR-Cas9, which is short for clustered regularly palindromic short repeats and CRISPR-associated protein 9. Now, let us return to the question that I asked you. How was green revolution possible? Well, the base of green revolution lies in the invention of HYB seeds that produce more than a normal seed, means an edited seed with greater potential. So my very first point why I believe that gene editing is beneficial for us is the past green revolution. Secondly, I believe that gene editing can help us cure diseases. A website, Labiotics, says that there are 7 diseases that scientists are already tackling with the help of CRISPR-Cas9. These include some inherent diseases and, of course, AIDS and cancer. According to the website again, 86 people with different forms of cancer have been already treated in China and in the US. And scientists at the University of Pennsylvania are using CRISPR to edit immune cells to make them find and back tumors. When we can cure so many diseases with the help of this technique, then why there is the question of declaring this as illegal? Thirdly, gene editing can produce disease-resistant plant and animal food. This is about finding more efficient ways to improve crop productivity, says Lipman, who is 45 and who has been at the forefront of gene editing research for the past decade. Now we all need fruits and vegetables and some chicken and eggs, right? Now CRISPR is going to help you with that too. With gene editing or CRISPR-Cas9, we can create disease-resistant crop plants and animal meat too. For example, in the case of chickens, with the help of gene editing, we can treat diseases like avian leukosis virus, avian influenza virus, etc. Lastly, with CRISPR-Cas9 technique, we have been so far with the discoveries in the field of gene editing in biology and understanding that mankind could even manipulate life. Now, with all these discoveries going on, I think that outlawing gene editing would be so unfair with all those scientists that have been working so hard, trying to give us another precious gift in this field. But with all these positive sides, it can totally not undermine its negative sides too. Yes, it has increased ethical concerns regarding designer babies and much more, but we have solution to this. And my point that I am trying to convey is that its merits cover its demerits so perfectly that I'm convinced that gene editing has its more advantages over its disadvantages. Finally, summarizing, I would say that gene editing is helpful for humanity in a lot of ways. For example, manufacturing disease-resistant and high-yielding seeds, curing diseases which are dangerous like cancer and AIDS, making disease-resistant poultry and mosquitoes that don't spread diseases as well. Considering its negative sides, I again say that its merits cover its demerits so perfectly that gene
Smita ma'am, is that your final score? Can I take that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Rishika, if you're looking at the screen, these are your scores after your first 5 minutes of debating up on your screen now. Well done. This has been a very, very high scoring debate so far, so the rebuttal is going to cut it close. For the rebuttal, we'll go in the same order. Rebuttal, remember, is for 5 points. You are getting 2 minutes. At the end of 1 minute, you will get a warning bell on the chat. Smriti, if you're ready. Smriti, you would like to unmute yourself? Great.
Is I audible, sir?
Yes, Smriti, we can hear you. If you're ready with your rebuttal, your time starts now.
One of my worthy opponents has mentioned through Green Revolution and by the use of HIV seeds, the production became doubled. I just want to say her, to increase our own economy, we are disturbing the nature's economy. We are just going on the quantity, but not the quality. My friends, quantity is something, but quality is everything. Because we are the consumer of that. It directly affects us. When these crossbreeding seeds are used, the protein number and the number of nutrition became half. And it is very dangerous. My friends has also mentioned the point that it cures many diseases. If some hereditary diseases can be cured by this process, but what about the guarantee that some other diseases or side effect would not affect us? Are you sure about it? And it is very costly. So the so-called technique is not for the everyone. It's only for the rich society of the country. And it's also create it also create the feeling of disparity between the upper class and the lower class of the society. And gene editing in an unborn child is a violation of the child rights. Of course, if he is not coming in this world, then how can we decide that how could he be? And if it is related to the physical factor like money and the other, we can tolerate it. But with the organism, where one small mistake can destroy the life of organism, even it can make dead, it is highly not tolerable. But by looking at these points, I can't understand how my friend says that it is beneficial. I'm totally saying that it should be outlawed. Thank you.
Well done, Smriti. Let's see how the judges score you. Judges, if you could please put in Smriti's scores for rebuttal out of 5. Swakshana ma'am, I have your score. Thank you. Smita ma'am, I have your score as well. Thank you. Meghna, I have your score as well. Great. Well, we will not show you the scores of the rebuttal right now. We will wait for all the 4 rebuttals to get over and then show you the consolidated scores, because I am going to play the evil moderator and I'm going to create a bit of suspense. Meher, it's your turn now. Meher,
Yes,
if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It is
Meher.
said. Okay, sorry, sir.
No worries. We will start your time now.
It is said that justice delayed is justice denied. Similarly, therapy delayed is therapy denied. This blatant denial of my oppositions is costing lives as we speak. Paying heed to my worthy opposition's arguments, I would say the argument of gene editing being a threat to diversity is absolutely baseless. It seems that they have mixed up the concept of DNA copying, which will lead to copies of humans, with that of gene modification. The point about playing God is next to laughable. This argument rests on the premise that natural is inherently good, but diseases are natural and humans by the millions fall ill and die prematurely, all perfectly naturally. The learned speakers here have constantly used the arguments of ethics and morality. But tell me, how is delaying an effort that is going to save millions from deadly diseases either ethical or moral in any way? I think my worthy opposition, in their frenzy to counter the benefits of gene editing, has very conveniently ignored that all innovative efforts at medical progress entail some risk or the other. Society can pledge to compensate anyone who suffers. Many problems that might be created as a result of germline modification could be corrected by using the same techniques that caused them. It seems a pity that my learned opposition is of the opinion that this beneficial procedure is more detrimental than incremental. Contrary to their beliefs, though, it is an ineliminable cure with immense potential, regardless of whether they like it or not. Needless to say, there are potential challenges that could play out. But aren't there early stage challenges for every new thing? With this, I would like to conclude by saying that gene editing is another step in the march of science. From the evolution by the theories of Archimedes to those of Newton and of Einstein, a step that has the potential to create a huge positive impact, not only for humankind, but also for our entire planet. Thank you.
Well done, Meher. Powerful rebuttal there. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. I can see Meghna scores. Smita ma'am, Meher's marks go in the last column. If you are okay, can I? Yeah, perfect. And Swekshana ma'am, we have your score as well. Thank you so much. Samid, you're up next. Samid, if you're ready with your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
Hello, we meet again. All this talk about creating super children made to order from labs actually seems a bit inspired from American superhero comics, I dare say. May I begin by saying our worthy opponents today have completely confused the topic under discussion, that is gene editing, with that of gene therapy, which, by the way, today is already highly practiced and is completely legal. There is a big difference between the two. Gene therapy seeks to alter genes to correct genetic defects and thus prevent or cure diseases. On the other hand, genetic engineering modifies the genes to enhance the capabilities and rewires the entire organism from its very base even before it is born. Secondly, in gene therapy, the genetic changes affect only the patient. However, in genetic editing, the changes are passed on to the future generations as well. And thirdly, for all the points advanced about how this will help to cure and eliminate life-threatening diseases, let me tell you the figures. As per the WHO, only 2% of the parents pass on potentially life-threatening diseases to their children. And for most of these, simpler remedies are already available in the market for quite some time now. So I think we don't really need a new cure for something which already has a much more promising and cost-effective method of treatment, especially not if that cure is going to be one that creates made-to-order children in labs. Finally, let us even assume that we manage to make a world full of mutants where there are no diseases, present-day life-threatening diseases. Of course, because then we will have new forms of mutant diseases, which we obviously won't be prepared to face. And I think one of the biggest examples of the magnitude of destruction these mutant diseases can bring is the very pandemic through which we are living in right now. I will end by saying, science may be mankind's strongest weapon today, but by no means is science God. Is there a worse way by which humans can be playing God? Over to the moderator.
Well done, Samid. Good rebuttal there. I was wondering when the X-Men reference would come up in this debate, and that happened. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Excuse me. I can see the scores coming in from Swekshana ma'am. I can see Smita ma'am's score, and I can see Meghna's score as well. Great. We have very, very fast scoring today. Thanks to all the judges for that. Next, it's Rishika's turn. Rishika, if you're ready with your rebuttal. Yeah, we can see you, we can hear you. If you're ready with your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
My worthy opponent keeps saying that it has increased the risk of designer babies and other moral issues. But I think that we have solution to these problems too, as governments can give certificates and equipments to perform this matter to those well and highly qualified doctors and researchers only who will work under their eye. And guys, if you are really talking about ethical and moral values, then just think about those who are suffering from such dangerous diseases. Just think about them again. Of course, I'm not talking about gene editing with human beings, but I am totally in support with further researches in this field. Also, one of my opponent mentioned in one line that coronavirus could be a result of this method. But WHO, as you all know, has clearly clearly said that this is totally not the result of gene editing, but this was just the result of an evolution. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Well done, Rishika. Let's see how the judges scored that wonderful rebuttal. And I can see all three scores have come in. In my experience, this is Match23. I've done 22 of this debate so far. Today's scoring has definitely been the fastest. Well, faster scoring means you guys get to see your scores very, very quickly, but not yet. This is when I get to tell you a little bit about Notebook. Notebook, as some of you may already know, is an edtech product. We make short, crisp videos for every topic from your school curriculum so that you can study using those videos. Teachers, when they're taking their classes, whether online or offline, can use these videos to start off their classes. And then when you're studying at home or maybe revising a chapter just before an exam, you can have access to the same videos on your personal devices, be it a smartphone, a laptop, or whatever you have at home. What I will do now is show you one of our short clips of a Notebook video so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Can we roll the video, please?
Do you know what these things are? The skeleton is a framework of bones that gives your body its structure. Do you feel something hard when you tap on your arm? That is a bone. There are 206 bones in an adult human body. Having many small bones makes it possible for us to be able to move. Can you bend your finger like this? As we can see, a finger has 3 small bones in it. Now imagine it to be one straight bone. How would we have held anything with straight fingers? Notice how I can move my head, shoulder, elbows, wrists. The place where the bones are joined are called joints. And these joints help us bend and move parts of our body. There are different kinds of joints. A ball and socket joint enables movement in all directions, as in our shoulders. A round end of one bone fits into the cavity at the end of another bone, like this ball in this bowl. See how the ball can freely move in all directions? In a pivotal joint, a cylindrical bone rotates in a ring. Where the neck joins the head is one such joint. It allows our head to move side to side. In our knees and elbows, we have hinge joints. Have you noticed hinges on a door that allows the door to open and close in a specific direction? Almost like this notebook. Our elbows and knees can move similarly. Only a back and forth movement is allowed. Some joints are fixed, where the bones cannot move at all. Our upper jaw is fixed to our skulls. Did you know that when we open our mouth, it is always the lower jaw that moves? Try to keep your lower jaw still and move just the upper jaw. Your head will move back as the joint is fixed. So many bones in our body. Some we can touch and feel. But can you touch all 206? To get a better understanding of our bone structure, we use the X-ray machine. That gives us a picture of the bones inside the body. Have you ever seen an X-ray plate? A doctor takes a look at these plates to understand if a bone is broken or displaced. In an X-ray, we can see the many small bones in our wrists that make them so flexible. These are called carpals. The skeleton also helps in keeping the vital organs safe. The heart and lungs are kept secure inside the rib cage, bones of the chest and the backbone. You can feel both with your fingers. Hold your breath for a few seconds and touch the part of your chest. Can you feel the weirdly bent bone? That's a rib. There are 12 ribs on each side of the chest. These ribs are attached at the back of the backbone. The backbone is made up of 33 small bones called the vertebrae. They help us arch our back. Do you feel something hard and pokey on either side of your back? Those are the shoulder bones. Similarly, the heart bone on which you sit is called the pelvic bone.
Well, that was a short clip from one of the Notebook videos. We have Achin Bhattacharyya here with us. Achin is the founder and CEO of Notebook. Achin is a chartered accountant by training who was a director at Deloitte prior to starting Notebook. Achin, we would love to hear your thoughts about today's debate and also a little more, if you may, about Notebook.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Smriti, Meher, Samid, and Rishika. Great show. Really impressed with your confidence, logical thought process, and articulate deliberation. See, the importance of public speaking in today's age doesn't need any elaboration. It's a lifelong asset in any career that you choose for yourself. However, I think what is most important is not to lose the sense of purpose. Thus, when you step out of your school campus into a much larger world, the society will look forward to your inputs and views on various issues. As debate, discussion, and public discourse are at the heart of any vibrant democracy. So please ensure that you never lose your sense of purpose when you debate on various issues with your fellow citizens, as your endeavor should always be to find out what is right and not necessarily who is right. Listening, again, I guess, is very important. So please ensure that you are a patient listener, flexible and tolerant. Unless you are receptive to the other person's views and tolerant enough to listen to each other, you may miss out on some very important perspective which someone else may bring to the table. Now, coming to Notebook, we are extremely humbled at being able to host 0 Hour for Students and Together for Education webinar for esteemed educators and parents. Today, we have more than 10,000 videos in public domain, just like the one you saw, which are accessed by more than 1 million students. So indeed, at Notebook, we are very happy to be one of India's fastest growing edtech platforms with your support. I again thank all the participants. To me, irrespective of result, what matters most is the spirit of participation, your enthusiasm, your passion, and confidence. It's wonderful to see such confidence at your age. To me, all of you are winners today for your commendable performance, which I'm sure will only get better with passage of time. I also thank both the adjudicators and principals of both the schools and the teachers who have helped in shaping up all of you. I also congratulate the proud parents. Your children have really made all of us proud. Every reason to celebrate. I also thank the audience for their active encouragement and support to our young debaters. It's really important to come together as civil society during this hour of pandemic and keep the spirit of our children high. I look forward to see all of you in our next 0 Hour debate today at 5 p.m. Thank you, take care and goodbye. Over to you, Shubhayu.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening,
I'm
ma'am.
from Gwalior.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I have one doubt here.
Sure.
Smriti Sharma from our school had
Yeah.
participated here and she got
Yeah.
40. She was the first speaker.
Yes, ma'am.
So, sir, just I want to know whether all the fields are marked or some problem is there. If she got,
Just hold on for a second, ma'am.
yeah, sure.
So, Akshara ma'am, if I can ask you to please confirm Smriti's course on column I.
Yes, I have filled in all the scores. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. If you could just repeat that once.
Yes, I have filled in all the scores.
All the scores have been filled in.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
I can take this as confirmed.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you both. Well, I know I have kept on the suspense, but you'll have to bear with me for a few more moments because we are indeed very, very proud that we are doing this in partnership with Save the Children. Save the Children, as you might already know, is an NGO that is over 100 years old now. They do some phenomenal work across the globe in saving children from dying before the age of 5. It's a cause that they have championed for more than 100 years. We have their CEO, Ms. Vidisha Pillai, whose message we want to share with you all.
Save the Children was born in 1919. 100 years is not a milestone that many organizations or individuals can claim to have reached. And for us, it's been a tireless, relentless journey to ensure that every child has access to their rights. Every child has a voice. But when we look back at 100 years, because 100 is also a time to reflect, we wonder what it would be like to live in a world where children don't need to be saved. Perhaps we could live in a world where Save the Children does not need to exist. And so as we look at the future, we envision a world which is much kinder to its children. A world in which children no longer need to be protected from violence, where children are not needlessly dying before they turn 5, where every child is going to school, is learning, is playing, and is on that path towards fulfilling their full potential. As we turn 100, we pledge to work towards that future of a much kinder and brighter world for children. Every day, every hour, every minute, we will continue on that path. But we also know we can't do it alone. We want to work closely with the communities, with our partners, with the government, and most importantly, with the children themselves. They are going to be the change makers of tomorrow. Children like Onuyara, like Rahul, like Salman, like Mamta, they are the ones who are breaking gender stereotypes. They are challenging social norms, and they are changing the world and the lives of themselves and also children around them. We pledge to continue working with them, alongside them, to ensure that every child gets the right start. I'm Vidisha Pillai, and I invite you to join Save the Children in our commitment to ensure that every child gets the right start.
Well, those are the messages that we had for you. And I know I have created enough suspense, so without any further delay, to all 4 of you, if you can see the screen, these are your scores after your first 5 minutes of arguments and 2 minutes of rebuttal up on the screen now. I would say very, very well done, all 4 of you. And these, therefore, are your school's averages. Ramakrishna Mission, CBSE Gwalior, your average is 83. Podar International School, Powai, your average is 93. The interesting bit here is that the difference is 10 points, which is less than what the audience holds in their control right now. To all the members of the audience, this is where you get to play a huge role. You get to choose your favorite speaker for today. The school from where we get the best speaker for the day gets 25 additional points, right? So this is how we'll do it. You will now see a poll coming up on your screen. You will have the 4 names on that poll. Choose the student you felt spoke the best amongst these 4. And I know it's a very tough choice, so think well and make it. And that school gets 25 additional points. You will get 1 minute to place your votes, and you can see the polls on your screen now. About halfway in, we still have 50 odd votes to come. About 10 seconds left. 30 odd people are still to vote. And that's a minute. These are the results on your screens. Smriti Sharma gets 20% of the votes. Rishika gets 8%. Samit with 13%. And running away in the polls, as well as in the audience marks, as well as the judges' marks, I'm sorry, is Meher Mehtani from Podar International School with 60% of the votes. You will have to give me just a second while I tabulate these scores in. Well, today's debate had a very interesting topic. We typically have Meghna Laha, the neutral adjudicator, tell us about the ins and outs of the topic. But today, unfortunately, she's down with a very sore throat. With my limited debating experience, I can tell you today was one of those, what we call a noble debate. Noble, not for the argument, the points being argued, but more for Mr. Alfred Nobel, who once invented dynamite and then wondered why he did that, and then ended up setting up the Nobel Prize. I think all four of you have put up some brilliant points there. At your age, I can hardly imagine myself debating at that level. So these, ladies and gentlemen, are the final scores. Ramakrishna Mission CBSE Gwalior ending with 83 points on an average, and Podar International School Powai with 118 points. Both schools very, very well done. Your debate literally left nothing on the table, and the judges did indeed have a tough time marking all of you. This, therefore, is the final result for Match 23 of Pool C. The winners, Podar International School Powai. Meher, Samid, very, very well done. I think celebrations are in order. Rishika and Smriti, please don't lose heart. You have a long way ahead of you, and I'm sure you will only get better with time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done for this debate. We will see you again at 5 p.m. India time for our next debate. Until then, take care and goodbye.